right, welcome everyone. We're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we're here for
Frieren, episode 25.
All
Fern
right.
versus Frieren.
And everybody else.
Yeah, they'll be there too.
Fern just walks in and just goes, I have dessert for you outside. Oh, okay. And
Yep,
then
exactly.
Just immediately it's over.
It's the, no, Frieren, you don't understand. I know 67 different ways that I can kill you. Mm-hmm. And none of them are pretty.
And only 12 of them rely on spell casting.
Yeah. How many rely on spellcasting? Just one.
Yeah, just...
Uh-huh.
But that being said, we do have the classic boss behind a door with our squad up in here.
Yep.
Different levels of investment in each character, but they all have something they'll be bringing to the table. But one of them's, Fern. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see what she has to bring to the table. Most.
But I do like the idea of the rest of them kind of like acting in supporting roles for this.
Mm-hmm. That'd be pretty cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, y'all. Without further ado, let's get into this.
心がないパターンも考えた方がいい。その場合は力技になるだろうけどね。
できるのか。
そう、わかんない。
But
それでしたら、もしかしたら私、フリーレン様を殺せるかもしれません。
The copy, right?
Yes.
The copy, right?
Frieren's like, awesome. Oh,
okay.
Well. Oh,
Okay.
that's cool. Ah, okay. Ah, yes. What is this fatal vulnerability? Oh, shit.
Gone.
So not gonna throw your golem, I guess. Okay. Okay.
All right.
複製体に心はないんだね。
はい。エーデルさんの見立てでは、心の働きを精密に模倣しているだけで、心そのものはないそうです。一番の問題は、あの複製体とその術者の正体だ。その性質がわからんまま手は出せん。
And if they were able to create a full power Frieren, what else could they do?
ないのかな。仮にあの複製体がフリーレンと同じ実力なら死傷者が出かねない。
私は答えんぞ。
だろうな。
そいつに弱点はないぜ。
Nice. Everybody's here.
Yeah.
Almost everybody.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, you were just threatening to kill them, like, yesterday, or a couple days ago.
先見体の観測結果によると
Right. Of course.
Okay. So any that haven't been defeated are going to come here pretty soon.
Yeah, Sense especially.
行動パターンによる弱点は本人と同じなんですよね。
Yep.
おそらくは
And they wouldn't be able to, like, account for those?
なんとかなるかもしれません。その弱点って何なの？
Frieren.
フリーレン様、あっちの壁際に立ってもらってもいいですか？
I need to test something. Just quick shot.
気がつきましたか？なんかわかった？わからん。
確かにこれはフリーレンの致命的なスキル。魔法を使う瞬間にほんの一瞬だけ魔力探知が途切れている。
それって見習い魔法使いがよくするミスじゃ。昔から苦手なんだよね。自覚があるならなんで言ってくれなかったんですか？だって恥ずかしいし。
She just isn't able to detect things during that time, so that you can cast something else during that time and she wouldn't know it.
この隙をつける魔法使いなどほとんどいないだろう。
とにかく作戦会議をしますよ。
I mean, on the one hand, given that Frieren essentially stayed in hiding for 1,000 years, it's not too crazy to think that, like, she would still be inexperienced in certain ways,
Sure.
you know? Even if her mana is, like, insane.
Oh, right, because it's just the idea of sharing knowledge from people ends up giving,
Yeah.
you know, the idea of tips and tricks and stuff.
And her time studying with Flam, that's, you know, a blip in her lifetime as a whole.
All right. The best part, coming up with a plan. We're just down.
We
a
don't
party
have a
member.
healer. Why?
We'll still keep
He
going.
got drunk.
It's just there.
Okay.
攻略を開始しようか。
勝てるのか。
大丈夫。攻略できないダンジョンなんか存在しない。私は歴史上で最も多くのダンジョンを攻略したパーティーの魔法使いだよ。
Big words there.
生体と戦うのはお前たち二人だけで大丈夫なのか。
No other parties lasted more than 10 years, I
少人数の
guess.
方が相手の行動を予測しやすいから。
Well, like, and I get that they'd be legendary since they took out the Demon Lord, but, like,
Yeah.
that doesn't mean dungeoneering would be their main thing they did.
Yeah.
多分脱出用ゴーレムを使うような暇もないよ。
Yeah, you guys have kind of gotten lucky with that so far.
最深部に集まってくる複製体の足止めの方が重要というわけか。
Cool. They can have everybody else out
Sure.
here. So that
Okay.
everybody's valuable.
Yeah. Don't want to get stuck in a pincer.
じゃあ作戦通りに。
ああ、健闘を祈る。
それじゃあ開けて。
Okay, these four. No, those two, and that's
Yeah,
it.
okay. I was going to say, yeah, those other two should not be going in there with them.
Cool.
Okay.
Hello. Just immediately start flying. Yeah.
Ooh. Oh.
Whoa!
Oh, okay.
Shit.
All right.
Some wild magic here.
Gotcha. So Frieren goes power to power with the copy.
Yeah.
Which creates the opportunities for Fern.
Right. She just seemingly disappears. That was her little trick, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, you grew up with it.
Yeah.
And then just wait and wait. Oh, wrong side.
Yeah, that looked like the real Frieren on that side.
Ah.
フリーレン、お前は私のことが嫌いだろう。なぜ私の元に来たの？正直、もう二度と会わないものだと思っていた。
先生の遺言状を届けに来た。
Oh, she's passed.
あれから50年。
Mm.
そうか。フランメは死んだのか。
悲しくないの？
気まぐれで育てた弟子だ。まるで報告書だな。
何が書いてあったの？
皇帝が国を挙げた魔法の研究に認可を下ろしたそうだ。人間の文化圏では今まで魔法
Ah.
Okay.
As opposed to it being a cloistered, like, not as a democratized thing.
Right.
引き継いでほしいという内容だ。なんて贅沢なやつだ。
And Ciri's still doing that 1,000 years later.
降りただけでも快挙だというのに、それ以上を望むとは。
それってすごいことなの？
大陸最大の統一帝国が魔法の研究と軍事転用を始めるということだ。
Sure.
周辺諸国が黙っていない。
A great age of wizardry.
誰もが魔法を使える時代がやってくるんだ。これは遠くない未来に人類が魔王軍に抗う力を手に入れることを意味する。
そう、すごいことだね。とても。
まったくだ。だが、それは私の望むところではない。
Yeah, I'd imagine.
こんな遺言は到底聞き入れられん。実に不愉快だ。誰もが魔法を使える時代だと。魔法は特別であるべきだ。才ある者以外に教えるつもりはない。こんなものをよこすとは、フランメとは最後まで分かり合えなかった。
Right.
But you did end up training people.
ゼーリエは怒って遺言状を破り捨てるだろうって言っていたよ。それでも伝えておきたかったんだって。夢が叶ったよって。
Wow.
じゃあ私は行くね。多分もう会うこともないと思う。
フリーレン、その前に少し歩かないか。どうせ私たちには時間はいくらでもあるんだ。
Sure.
誰もが魔法を使える時代はフランメの夢だった。あの子もきっと初めは人類のためとか魔王軍に抗う力とかそんなものはどうでもよかったんだ。
Oh,
Nice.
cool. Yeah, of course.
Obsession with useless spells began all the way back here.
Sure. Thumbs up. Or me. Oh,
Nice.
sure. Oh, okay. Boom.
Just like that.
All right.
Okay.
Frieren clone is done.
Yep.
Yeah, Fern did it. It was a lot of time spent kind of talking about the ways in which they'll need to do it.
Yeah.
Whereas at the end of the previous episode, Fern kind of said, I know how to do it.
Right, and
And
then
so
they-
it felt weird that we then went and spent all that time
Yeah.
to have them come only back to the same thing.
Right.
So,
We immediately backpedaled on it with the, oh no, we can't actually do whatever it was we were thinking, which I kind of would have liked to have
well, it seemed like they
fully known.
Right. It seemed like they were trying to make the point that she had a plan that had something to do with things outside of the hypnosis, the actual like thing there. So I don't understand why they had to double back on that.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
the poetry of Fern being the one that can effectively replace Frieren. I love that. It
love
goes
that
into the
too.
whole master student thing, which gets extra fun because of like elf versus human and all of that stuff,
Yeah,
and
and the
the
way
journey that Frieren's been on.
Yeah, and the way in which Fern has been the one that is the direct lineage, if you will, of Heiter. So it's
Exactly.
something that
Yeah.
it has extra, poetic relevance. So
But the actual mechanical details of how it happened, both with how long it took to get there from like
how much
where
time
the
we spent in
previous
the
episode,
episode.
that felt pretty rough. And then the idea of like the thing of she like stops detecting mana for an instant, and it's like, oh, but that's like a very basic thing that everybody does. Yes, and now like I mean theoretically, Frieren could have a loophole like that or a weakness in her defense like that, but you'd think that would have gotten exploited by now, right? So
Well, yeah, and I think the reason why is because she's never actually like fought an army of mages or an army of magic users.
Sure, yes. And I guess I think the reason why it wasn't as satisfying for me is because also it doesn't feel like it's something that's necessarily as based around Fern's connection with Frieren.
Not really.
Like maybe she noticed that, but I feel like that could be something that a lot of the mages here could have noticed if they just spent some amount of time around Frieren, because it's such a basic thing,
Yeah.
that if somebody's not doing it, you'd pick up on it.
And even if it was a thing that was like a thing that she'd noticed or what have you, it would have been interesting to have her test a couple of things and see which ones actually
sure.
worked. Because I feel like the idea that she knew about this one pretty much the whole time, it feels like it's one that would have been cool to show maybe some more instances that it like she had already kind of sussed this out a while ago. But maybe she did. I'd be curious to know if you guys know of any times in which that actually was something that was shown and sussed out. Because I just don't remember what they were.
I
But
fully buy that Fern would have been paying attention to those things.
I
and,
also
would've-
fully buy that Fern would be the only one there that would actually have any kind of vulnerability, like awareness for Frieren, which is, that's fun. And also it's building up even more the idea that Fern is the new era of mages that blend what she learned from Frieren, but also is taking the human lessons and the human kind of personality into things that Frieren didn't fully click in with her connections with Flamme and of course, also her party.
Right.
So all that to say, Fern is being set up for some really cool stuff here, which is awesome. And then the conversation that happened between Syrie and Frieren, the name had a pretty cool pronunciation, but I didn't catch it exactly. Their conversation was really interesting because I think I misjudged Syrie a little bit because I didn't sense any malice towards humans, despite the fact that they're going to be taking over the way that the world is run very soon from the elf perspective.
Yeah, like I very much had this impression of like maybe it was the that kind of like grin in the first OP. That it's kind of like we learned that there's this, I'll give you any spell that you want. It's effectively a wish if you do all these crazy things. It felt kind of like all right, now dance, little ants, right? Like I've put out the thing that is so amazing, you can't help but do whatever jump through whatever hoops I give you, right?
Yeah.
And then at the the perspective that we see back then, granted that theoretically could change over the course of a millennia, especially as they
Probably
see
not.
what humans do with magic. Maybe
I would say no. That's the point. Is that we're dealing with immortals. Their perspectives don't really change that much.
Right, and it was even
They're
specified
really relaxed. Of like, we'll change our mind maybe in a couple hundred years.
Well, and even 1,000 years, right? Like Siri mentioned, that's nothing, right?
That's nothing.
Like because so, but kind of as a form of respect to the one student that they did take, they're like, okay, I will teach humans magic, but I'm going to do it in like the most like limited way possible, but I'll still do it because
there could be a perspective that humans are greedy enough that they would rather go after the long shot amazing thing than do the harder, more consistent, grueling training thing. And that keeps a nice cap at the top end of mages. Because then the top end of mages will always kind of keep those ones at the bottom from going too far. And then the ones that right there will never have more than what Syrie is willing to pass along to them.
Sure. Yeah.
So that's kind of fun. But then, again, I didn't sense any malice. I felt like there was more of this like, hey, humans have their lives on a little bit of a timetable. They're moving with urgency and speed because they understand that they're going to die soon.
Right.
But we, in some ways, are lamenting, or at least Syrie is, lamenting the inevitability of the age of elves and what have you coming to an end, or at the very least, the age of the Demon King as well.
Sure.
So if that's a good thing, despite it being an area where magic is democratized, which has led to magic being so different from the way it is that Frieren doesn't even really know that style of magic, like that what's being used by the people here, because she's like,
and that's
things change every 50 years, so it's not even worth actually doing there.
Yeah, to the point that it's only 50 years, right? Like she helped
lifespan,
create the modern magic that then was iterated on to be the elemental stuff instead of the Zoltrak like offshoot stuff.
Flam's lifespan wasn't 50 years. She trained Frieren effectively for 50 years.
Right.
So it's that's how fast things change. You can have a master that changes your life potentially in those 50 years, but they're not going to be around. Their whole philosophy might die with them. But yeah, she wanted Syrie to pass on basically magic to humans and end up orchestrating the teaching methods of that, which we know Syrie is at the very least at the head of the magic association and stuff. So
people become first-class mages so that they can get something from that.
Right. So that feels like you then kind of relented on your original idea of this. You actually decided to play a part in this, but you're just not doing it maybe the way Flam wanted you to.
Sure. Yeah. And maybe Flam even kind of knew that, hence the whole thing of, Syrie's probably going to like shred the paper, right? Like she's probably just going to be like, no way I'll do this. But yeah. That kind of dynamic is fun. I would love to see that get explored more.
Well, we're setting up a conversation.
Yeah,
the whole thing
exactly.
of I don't
The
think we'll ever
reunion.
see each other again. It's like no, you'll see each other again. It's more really just the okay. So what's their history pre-Flamma? Like
Right, exactly.
What's the actual history that they have between each other? Because I could see it being as close as family to as just as basic as oh, you're the other super prodigious elf mage, you know.
Oh, gotcha.
Talking between Frieren and Syria.
No, right, yeah, like before Flam. Okay.
Yeah, that's what I said. The history before her is being
Gotcha.
like what kind of stuff would have them like what kind of stuff would force a conversation beyond just Frieren being like, yo, I did the test thing, so I would like a spell that allows me to sleep through Fern's incessant trying to wake me up.
Or I would like a spell that lets me locate grimoires no matter how far away they are or what's in between me and them.
Right.
Right, like...
And then it's just like, wonderful. You can tell that there's a lot right here. And it's like, damn it, it says whichever grimoire is the closest. So I have to go really far away, you know? Like,
Yeah.
But I do love also the direct and kind of oversimplistic view of the spells that Flam loved so much for the foolish small little spells.
Yeah.
And it's well, yes, they don't have the ability to shape the world in a dramatic way.
Shatter mountains and all
Shatter mountains and all
Yeah,
that. But they could change a person's life and have them sit in this village and, you know, maintain a statue for, you know, their entire life.
Right, and yeah.
You know, they could end up showing somebody a little bit of a view of what love is. Like there's all these little things that can come from those little spells. So the idea that Sere is being set up as the antithesis to that philosophy.
Right, because
I love that.
She's a more exaggerated version of Frieren from the like beginning of the show in a lot of ways.
Absolutely.
You know, and that it's the Frieren's 1,000 or 2,000 years old or whatever. You know, Cere's probably 10 times that, right? You know, so
right. It just seems interesting that it feels like Frieren already has a different perspective on things back then. There's this almost feeling that Frieren was changed more so by the party of the last 10 years than she was back then.
By Flam, yeah. And
so maybe it's been a gradual process. That makes sense, but
there was definitely that part of me that felt like, I'm not sure if this entirely feels like the Frieren that we knew, but at the same time, 50 years with Flam, that could have, like, I would imagine that would also have a bit of an effect on it.
Oh, right, and that's a good point. Frieren then was still a long time. That's like 1,000 years before the party.
Right.
So the idea that Frieren maybe was close to figuring out how to tap into her humanity,
and then had 1,000 years of solitude.
Right, and then lost most of it.
Right, exactly. It's the I have to keep my head down and everything, not get close to anybody because I don't want anybody to figure out that what I'm doing, you know.
Oh, and that's cool because then that brings in even more the idea that Frieren did maybe learn the point a little bit, but because she was so focused on doing her mission from Flam that she actually didn't focus on the relationship.
Sure.
And then now it's I have three is the pattern. I have Flam, I have the party, and now I have Fern. And it's I now see where I was supposed to, pick these little things up by Flam setting it on the way.
And if that is something that is like intended, I would love for the show to like kind of explicitly state that at some point. It didn't have to happen in this episode, but like maybe in the conversation with Siri or something like that, as Frieren maybe thinks back on what happened since then, and then it's just
or show her thoughts with regards to that, because Frieren's not a very verbose person in general.
No,
so
not exactly.
No, so that would be fun to have it at the very least thought about.
But one other thing that I will say I did appreciate about the fight is that it was quick.
Yeah.
Like there was a lot of planning and, but there was absolutely that feeling of lethality with like when the magic actually started getting thrown around,
Yeah.
And that was one of my favorite aspects of the Demon arc. And so I like that we had that here because it's Frieren. Of course, it should feel incredibly lethal.
Yeah. But y'all, thank you so much for watching this episode's reaction and discussion. If you want to see the next episode's reaction and discussion right now, though, go check out the link in the description below for our Patreon. You get on early access there. You can watch full-length timer reactions there, and all this comes with Discord access, so you can chat with us in the community there about this show, about anime in general, and also be sure to check out our Twitch channel. So yeah, if any of that interests you, we'll see you there. But until then, we're Semblance of Sanity. I'm Caleb.
I'm Jacob.
And we'll see you all next time.